We use the word blessing many times, and when we use the word blessing, we use the word blessing as an external thing. So I'm blessed because I have a new house, or I'm blessed because I got a gift from somebody, or I'm blessed because I got a new job. I got something external, and that's my blessing. But when you actually look at Jesus, Jesus, he defines our blessing as something that's internal. So he says, "Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy." God is not trying to create things outside of me to bless me. He's trying to create things inside of me to bless me. So he will create a situation that will cause me to learn to be merciful so that I can obtain mercy. He will cause a situation for me that will cause me to mourn so that when I'm in pain, I will turn to him for comfort, because it said, "Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted." And when you go through the Matthew chapter 5, for example, and you look at the different things that Jesus calls blessings, all the things that Jesus calls blessings are internal. So God at the end of the day is trying to get us to be transformed internally. And sometimes while we're being transformed internally, external things can get better. External things can go well. External things can be what we desire. But that's not God's focus. God's focus is for me to have an internal transformation. So if it takes some of the negative things in life to happen to me, he'll allow it. Now, I'm not so much saying that God lets negative things happen to us so that we can build character. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is that God will use anything in our life to develop the blessings on the inside. So God will use great things in our life. God will use negative things in our life. But whatever he needs to use to align our spirit with his spirit, he's going to use it because he's in control. What he's trying to do in terms of being in control, he's not trying to get us to do his will by force. He's trying to create in us a character so we would become the people that we should be. Many times, because of our concept of God being in control, instead of us coming closer to God because of experiences that we go through, we oftentimes go further away from God because of experiences that we go through. Or I should better yet say this, people that you know or people that you're around. You can see when certain people go through things that it causes them to kind of rethink God because they fell in love with God's provision instead of falling in love with God, who is the provider. So our circumstances are not primarily what makes us. What makes us is us spending time with God and understanding ultimately what God's plan is for us, what the Most High's plan is for us, what he's really trying to control. What he's trying to do is he's trying to get you and I to a place where we become the people we were called to be. And the way that we become the people that we were called to be is to submit ourselves to God's will and to stop looking at the circumstances and start looking at what God is trying to do on the inside of us, how God's trying to change us, how he's trying to change our thought patterns and our behaviors. God doesn't get people to offend us for the purpose of us to hate them. He gets us to do that for the purpose of us to lift spiritual weights, to understand that we're going to live in a world where people will not celebrate us all the time, where people will not love us all the time. And are we strong enough to be able to take that so that he can lead us into other avenues of life where we're going to receive a lot more of that? A lot of times when we go through certain things in life, especially negative things, it's a test for the future. So for example, if you are easily offended by people, you can never lead people. Because if you're leading people, someone will offend you. And a matter of fact, the more a person knows you is the more likely that they'll offend you. For example, if you're leading 10 people that you don't know, you're probably going to get challenged from at least one of them. But if you're leading 10 people that you grew up with them when you were a child and they knew you all your life, and now you're leading 10 people who know you like that, if you're lucky, maybe one of them will actually listen to you and not have major challenge to your leadership.